Hello there, this is Roberto Matthews with another quick tip for you. I'd like to apologize for not uploading some more quick tips as I usually do. As you can imagine, with everything that's going on in the world today, it gets kind of busy over here, and I'm doing live streams for many people here. But enough about me, let's try to help you out with your HTML writing. So basically, today I'm going to show you how to do a nav bar where you have a collapsible navigation menu for different media queries. And what's going to happen is you can do it with not a lot of writing. You don't have to download Bootstrap or anything like that. You can if you want to, but it's not required. The only thing that we're going to require is jQuery. So let's go ahead and get started. So the way I usually do it is I'm going to wrap everything in a navigation. And by everything I mean I'm going to wrap my logo and my logo area. And in this case, we're going to do an href that says logo for that part. And then we're going to have our nav area. And then we're going to have about 5 links that are all href dummies and link areas like this. And actually, in this program, I have to put my multiplication at the end. Okay, and there we have it. There's our navigation bar kind of set up. So let's put something below it just so that we have an area here. So let's just put a header. And in the header, we're going to just put a image, http source.unsplash.com 1280 by 720, and let's make it mountains. And let's call this mountains. Okay, and we refresh here. And there's our mountains. Okay, and of course we're going to go ahead and say 100%. So we can see the entire mountain range. And there we have it. That's a lot better. Okay, so we're going to put our navigation at the top. What we're going to also include here is a button. So, and our button is going to be called nav button, or nav button. And inside the nav button, we're going to put a hamburger. So in order to do a hamburger, you're going to do ampersand sign and then hashtag, and then you're going to say 9776 colon, and that'll give you your little hamburger icon. Okay, and that's kind of basically it for the HTML. And let's go ahead and do our CSS. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all my CSS in the head just so it's easier to see. But obviously you would do a link to a style sheet. But let's go ahead and do everything here. So let's do padding 0, margin 0, box sizing, border box. Okay? And then let's go ahead and say, and let's refresh that. And then let's say that our navigation will have a padding of 20, background of dark gray. I think that should be, dark gray. And so what, to put everything next to each other, of course, we're going to say display flex. And then we're going to go justify content space between. And now everything is side by side, as you can see. Then what we're going to do is we're going to remove the button for now. So we're going to say, what do we call it? Nav button. Display none. and now we have our regular navigation. Okay, so as you can see, the navigation here is going to be just normal. Okay, and it looks like our widths are 576 for extra small, etc., etc. So let's go ahead and do that. We have to do an at media screen and max width, and according to this grid it's 576. So let's go ahead and use that. So at that amount, we're going to say that nav button display block, and we're going to say nav display none, and let's see what we get. So obviously this is fine, and then we get our small version right here, which works really well. Okay, and so now at this version, we're going to go ahead and style our nav button. So let's go ahead and say, now you're able to do all of this styling earlier on up here in this area, but just to make everything a little bit easier to see, we're going to go ahead and style it down here. It doesn't really hurt anything, and you know, it might not be best practices, but we're just doing this as a tutorial. Okay, so we're going to say display block. We're going to say font size 2 rem. Let's see, and that should be, that's a little bit too big, so let's say 1.5 rem. That's a little bit better. And let's give it a nice color here. Let's say background is blue, color white. Okay, it looks like we're gonna have to give it some padding. So let's say the padding is 4 and 8, and it looks like I'm gonna have to go back to 2 rem, and that looks a lot better. That's pretty nice. Okay, so instead of saying display none, let's go ahead and take that away and see what we have so far. Okay, so here's our navigation. We're going to say position absolute. Then we're going to say top. Let's guess that the top is about 80 pixels. And then we're going to say right 0. Okay, and so we need to go a little lower. So let's go down to 85 pixels. Even lower. That looks like it might work. So it looks like we need to make it a little bit more block level. So we're going to go to our links, and we're going to say that they display block, and we're going to say margin of 5, and we're going to, that should be enough. Let's see if that works. That looks pretty good. Okay, and so our nav, we're also going to say that the width is 33%, and that it has a background of dark gray. And that works out pretty well. I like that. Okay, and of course you can style all of this any kind of way you want. We're going to go up here to our navigation and say text decoration none, color white, and we're going to also do that to the logo. Oh, logo A. Forgot to put the little A there. And there we go. And so we also forgot to do one last thing here. We need to do not just justify, we have to do align items center. That way they're right on the center there. And so now we have our beautiful navigation the way we want it to be. And so now what we need to be able to do is we need to be able to click on it and have it collapse and go back. Okay, so let's go ahead and start off with our navigation being display none. Okay, and since it's absolute, let's make sure that the z-axis is above everything. And then we're going to go ahead down here, and since we have jQuery already set up, we're going to go ahead and activate our jQuery. And we're going to okay, so this is pretty simple. What we're going to do is we're going to say when we click our button, so our nav button, click, we're going to run this function. And the function we're going to run is that we're going to say that the nav will be a slide toggle. Okay, pretty simple. And so now when we refresh here, we have a beautiful slide toggle when I'm clicking. Okay, and so now as you notice, our navigation is no longer present because the way the slide toggle works is on the basis of display none. So right now it's display block, and then it becomes absolutely positioned. Okay, and so once we click on it to say display none, it doesn't display at all. So you would think that perhaps if you would put it up in the higher styles that it would work, but it actually won't work. What you want to do is you want to take your media style here. Let's copy this and paste it. But instead of saying media screen and max width, we're going to say min width. And then we're going to say that our nav is display block, and we're going to say important. Okay, so now it's going to override whenever we slide back to being wider. It's going to override and make sure that we see the actual navigation. So let's refresh. Our navigation is normally block, and then we come back out. We click on our navigation, we declick on our navigation, and there's our navigation. It's still there. So there's our little tip for today. If you liked this tutorial, please leave a thumbs up, and if I can do anything better, please let me know in the comments. So have a wonderful day. Thank you very much. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much.